What we all share is the idea that the Lacanian real has to be, in a way, desubstantialized, freed of this postmodern topic of the real out there, too strong to confront it directly, and, you know, we can just get partial views on it. If you permit me to repeat an old anecdote of mine, which is perfect, to use just to this clarification. This is for me the best scientific story to illustrate what is the Lacanian real. You know, in Einstein's development of passage from a special to general theory of relativity, he totally turns around his notion of matter and how the space is curved. He begins by the idea that space is not curved, symmetric, then matter curves the space. Like you have kind of a flat symmetrical space, empty space, matter comes, it curves the space. What he then does is something wonderful, I claim, deeply Hegelian. He turns it around. He says, no, it's not that matter intervenes and curves the space, but that all that, naively to put it, really is curved space. And matter, curved space comes first. Matter is an effect of how we perceive curved space. And I think that if we apply this to Freud, we get in Freud also exactly the same shift in his notion of how to relate the symbolic order with the real of a trauma. First, Freud thought, in the same way as Einstein, it's a very broad parallel, okay, we have a non-curved, flat, symmetrical, whatever, symbolic space, then something happened. And I don't mean it in a tasteless way, like you are raped, you witness something horrible, whatever. And then, of course, your symbolic space gets curved. Because of this trauma, something cannot be spoken of, etc. The balance is lost. But then, if you read closely Freud's seminar on Wolfsmann, you will see that he's not saying that, but exactly the opposite, in a very second stage Einstein way. For Freud, it's not that the child was doing okay, the small Wolfsmann, and then, he saw that famous atergo, mother, no. As Freud makes it very clear, when the small Wolfsmann saw that atergo, coitus, it was not a trauma, it was just nothing. He just inscribed it as a neutral trace, he didn't know what to do with it. And then, later, at the age of 5, 6, when you are perplexed by sexuality and the origin of children and all that stuff, then, in order to answer to the deadlock, symbolic deadlock of sexuality and so on, he pulled out and retroactively traumatized that experience. So literally, again, you see the similarity. First, the discursive space was curved, and then something which was not a trauma was traumatized to function as the traumatic stuff of it, and so on. So again, this, I think, is what is crucial in the Lacanian notion of the real, that it's not about the real as something brutally intruding and so on. It's the real as like the curvature of symbolic space which, again, precedes its cause. Its cause is a retroactive projection and so on. Second point, what we just started with, Heidegger, Lacan, and so on. I would like to improvise some of my thoughts here. The first one would be that, again, what I already said, the big enigma is, my God, how is it that Lacan sticks to the notion of the subject? Of course, for Heideggerians, this means, orthodox Heideggerians, this means, you know the story, Lacan remains within the horizon of metaphysical nihilism, of subjectivity, whatever. But I think we can put it in another way. We should precisely link it to the question of philosophy, or rather ontology. For Lacan, in a way, Heidegger remains too much of a philosopher, in spite of his Überwindung of Western metaphysics.